Allahabad in 2013. So you can assume that I'm very close to this place also. And one can say that Allahabad used to be my second home at that time. So I'm working in Google. I'm working on Google search now for some India specific products. Some of you might have used Google Cricket on Google search. That's one thing that our team owns. Other than that, a dictionary also you guys might have used. So that's also part of our team. Before that, I was with InMobi for like 10 months. And I was placed in some random company from the campus. I will talk about that later. So that's pretty much my work experience. And I'm doing competitive programming from past 7 years now, I think. So it's been a long time, 8 years maybe. And I'm also one of the problem setters for ACM ICPC regionals from the last 3 years. But not the online round that everybody messed up. I don't really take blame on that. So I'll start with how I started. It was definitely not one of the pleasant ways. So I will tell a little about it. So in first year, I was not involved in coding at all. I was preparing for IIT in those days. Like everybody likes to be in IIT, and when you miss by a small margin, then you feel like you should try to attempt it one more time. So I was in that state. It did go very well, of course. So that covers sums up my first year. Then came second year. So in second year, that was the first time when you actually get to know about algorithms and data structures, because there is a course called data structures in our second year course structure. So that was the first time when I was introduced to it. I didn't like it at all. That was probably one of the most boring subjects in our curriculum. Or maybe it was taught that way, or maybe I was not made for that. So at that time, the definition of computer for me was, it's a device which you can use to watch movies and to play games. Of course, I was also doing that. I was enjoying things. So one of the incidents happened in this semester is, you guys might have heard about the insomnia that happens in IIT Allahabad Tech Fest. So after its online round, our team was not shortlisted for the second round, for the final round. But seniors arranged for some wildcard entry round. In that, they gave one problem. I still remember the problem. It was about counting number of trailing zeros and n factorial. So I knew the solution before most people learn that in their 12th class. So I was able to answer that, and our team got qualified for the final round. So there were about 50-60 teams, I guess, in computer center. And can you guys guess the rank of our team? It was last. It was definitely last. How can I say that? Because after trying 2-3 problems for first 1 hour, we went to the organizers and tell them, we are not participating in it anymore. We don't understand what this means. It's asking us to execute program on multiple test files. How will it do it? We have no clue. So we left the hall. So you can definitely assume it was the last time. Even there was a similar scenario in our final exam of data structures. It was end of third semester. And there was a question asking about to write code for binary search. This was the lab practical exam. I know most people here can write binary search very efficiently. But I knew only its definition, but I had no clue about its code. So what I did was, I checked the middle element. If it's on the left side, do a linear search on left side. If it's on the right, do a linear search on right. That was my binary search code, which was evaluated correctly, of course. So that's pretty much it. That was the easier question. Of course, the tougher one was selection sort, so you can forget about it. I didn't try to attempt that. So now the fourth semester came. That was the time when, so every good thing happens with either some big motivation behind you or some kind of accident. Unfortunately, mine was an accident. I lost my father in the beginning of 4th semester. That was the time when I felt that I should do something. I cannot just say that I don't like this branch and I cannot just enjoy my time. So I came back to college full of infinite questions that how should I approach my studies now. In that time, you might have heard about the computer club classes in IIIT Allahabad. So this is a club which is fully controlled by final year students, and they take classes of algorithms and multiple other subjects. So for the first time I attended one of those classes in hope that I might like something. So in that particular class they were teaching some DP problems and introduced and told something about SPOJ. I liked it. I felt that this might be the thing which can be a start point for me, because at least this is somewhat logical. If you compare that with the other subject like the data structures which was taught in the 3rd semester. So I came back to my room, I made a count on SPOJ. I think it was in the January in 2011. And I solved first problem, and that was exactly the same problem of counting trailing zeros in n factorial. So that was the first problem I solved on SPOJ. So in those days, I was like full of energy that I had to do so many problems on this, so I can be assured that I will get a job for sure. That was the only purpose of doing SPOJ at that time, because that was my first priority at that time. I did not want to face a situation in my final year that even after studying in such a good college, I am without job, and my family of course needs some economical thing from my side. So in my 4th semester I practiced a lot. I still remember asking my friends like, can you tell me how to take inputs of strings, because that seems to be the toughest part in the beginning. So you can say that my friends were my biggest gurus in my 4th semester. See, they taught me a lot. So for full 4th semester, I was doing only SPOJ, solved various problems on it. You can still see that my SPOJ name was uninterested coder. Definitely I was not interested in coding, but I kind of forced myself into coding. So then came the summer vacation after the 4th semester. I think that was the time when I worked hard, really hard in my life. Probably the most amount of time I spent in learning something. So my whole goal was to solve as many problems as possible on SPOJ, so that I will be assured for the job. So per day I was solving like 7-8 problems, even though I was playing cricket in the morning and evenings. But I always used to read one problem, then go on to the cricket ground so I can keep on working on the problem while I was fielding somewhere. So I was working really hard in those days. You can guess by this thing that when I was solving problems and coding them, I didn't have any other operating system than Windows, and there was no compiler in my machine. I was only coding on IIDon.com. And that too with a 2G internet and in the village remote area where the internet connection is, the signals are not that great. So every time I was hitting a compile button, it used to take like 3-4 minutes just to return the output. But still I was so patient and full of energy that I had to learn something. So I worked really hard in those two months. Then I came back to college for 5th semester. Again the same previous year insomnia came, and this time our team was ranked first. So that was the first contest in which I participated, and the beginning was really well. The hard work paid off. It showed that when I was nowhere previous year, I can clearly see the difference between me and other people. So there was definitely some difference between my knowledge now. The hard work was showing something. So in around the same time, in 5th semester, my friend introduced me to CodeChef and Code Forces also. Then I started actually competing in short contest and long contest. So in my complete third year, I mostly participated in long contest because it provides you so much amount of time and you can learn many things and then apply them, fail multiple times. So I feel that is probably one of the finest ways of learning something new. So most of the third year I spent in that. I participated in few code forces round also, but I didn't like it too much, maybe because I didn't have Linux in my machine. And I was coding by doing remote login in my computer center machines, coding there, copy code, paste it in Notepad, then upload file, which was definitely not one of the pleasant ways of doing coding. So initially I was good at maths, so I solved only mathematical problems because it requires least amount of knowledge of the programming language. You just derive the formula and you can code it in the most easiest way. It doesn't require you to make fancy inputs, neither you need to provide it in a fancy output way. So I was solving only maths problems initially. And I was coding only in C. That was, I think, one of my bigger mistakes. I was coding in C till my 7th semester. And because I was coding in C, I was not coding enough of graph algorithms. And that clearly showed when Flipkart came for hiring and they asked a question in which you need to apply BFS in a matrix which is full of strings, and I had no clue how to write the code for it. So that was clearly missing from my knowledge. That was in 7th semester, yes. So after that I got rejected in many companies because I gave interviews in Hindi maybe. So definitely my graduation, when I was about to join that company, there was job for top 2 rankers directly without any interviews, and after that there were interviews. So I felt that's one of the biggest chances because I was always getting rejected in interviews. I don't want that. So in that I performed really well, got rank 1 and got direct job offer from InMobi. Then I joined InMobi. I think after joining InMobi and maybe after leaving college, I felt most passionate about competitive programming. I saw that there are so many red coders, and I mean, those must be some alien people. I used to feel that way. So I thought, why I can't be one? I should definitely try it. I saw multiple questions on Quora, I saw where people were saying that why there are so less red coders from India, and people were answering in a different ways. I thought that I should also give it a try. And I was really enjoying that. Then competing with other people, you see the rank list, you see those green ticks. It motivates you a lot. So you can imagine that when I was working for like 8 hours, there was not enough time to practice more, but I had to practice smart. So I made multiple strategies. I tried various ways within the last 4-5 years. I asked other red coders also, but if you ask them, there is no specific answer how to approach something, how to approach towards a good rating. There is no specific answer. Nobody gives you the same answer. So I thought, why not try my own way? Let me see how it happens. So me and one of my friend, he's also in Google right now. He is 1 year senior to me. So we made some Excel sheets, and we tried to participate in every single contest within a week. And fortunately for us, that most of the Code Forces contests were at 9 p.m. and same for the Top Coder and other websites also. So we used to participate in every contest, then mention that in our Excel sheet, and then track them that we will solve just the next problem that we missed in the last contest. Suppose we solved only A and B, then we will mention C in the list and we will solve C on the weekend. Because that is the nearest problem which is just above our level, and that I couldn't able to solve in the contest. So I think that worked really well. We both were fans of Top Coder for sure. So we decided to solve like 50-60 problems of Division 1 500 level. So we numbered all of them in our Excel sheet. Then we used to practice them and put comments about what the problem is about and whether we needed any hint from the editorial or not, and mention that point in bold, like this was the key thing in the problem that we were missing in our knowledge. So I think that turned out to be really effective. I think somewhere around, actually at the end of 2014, I became red on code forces when the rating limit was, I think, 2200. So you can assume that it was almost 4 years I became red. But in between you can see that for like first 2 years I was practicing in a very wrong way, using C only, and was not aware of these competitive sites. Plus was not reading new algorithms but only solving problems which were comfortable to me. So that was definitely not the very effective way. And in Topcoder also, when I joined Google, it was around in the 2014 beginning. There is a friend of mine in Google, Nishan. He motivated me a lot. He said that he was actually a red coder in 2007. So he is in Google from 2007. And he loves solving algorithmic problems, but don't participate at all now these days. He motivated me a lot and told a story that when he was practicing, he participated in like 97 contests out of 100 consecutive ones. So that requires some kind of motivation and you had to participate for sure so that you don't lose any rhythm. I tried to do similar thing. We participated a lot somewhere around in 2015 and I came very close to become red. But I missed it by 10-12 points margin. And when there was a contest in which I had a great chance, I did a mistake which was overflow error. I forgot to typecast something from int to long int, and that problem failed. After that, I didn't got much time. I was busy in some promotions in my job and all that stuff, so my rating also came down. Then I decided to give it one more shot, that I should practice again and I will definitely reach there. So it happened in 2007 finally. So when I was, it was also a very funny story. For that contest I was traveling to US. I was in US at that time, and me and my friend who used to do Topcoder together, he is in Google Mountain View. We decided to meet, but he said that he is busy in some work and he can meet only at 11. So I thought what to do till then. Then I saw that this contest was going on, why not just participate in this? But I didn't have pen and paper to write, to solve problems, so then I pull out my tickets, flight tickets, and started solving problems on them. And luckily I was able to solve 2 problems in that contest, got few X, and finally became a top order. So that was one of the very big achievements for me, which I targeted from several years and finally able to achieve it. That was the moment, the very satisfactory moment, that if you aim for something, then you can really achieve it, no matter if you are doing job or if you're busy with something else. It's just that you should aim for correct things and aim higher. If you don't aim high enough, then there is very less chance that you will reach there. So that was pretty much it for as far as my journey is concerned. Apart from that, I'm busy with problem settings for Kickstart also. So some of you guys might not know what Kickstart is. It is the coding challenge which is hosted by Google. There are almost 7-8 rounds per year, and this is again the algorithmic and data structure round, very similar to the code forces and other programming contests. And based on the performance on this, Google hire interns and hire for jobs. So it's very important if you're planning to go into Google. So you should definitely participate in those contests. And of course, I'm setting problems for ACM ICPC also. So you guys must have the question that how was my performance in ICPC? So of course, I didn't have a very good team. I don't think I was the best member of the team, but still, we never practiced together. I was not motivated towards this contest. I never heard of this before. So we just applied for one side and couldn't able to make it to the on-sites for that side. So that was pretty much my story for ACM ICPC as far as participation is concerned. So now you guys are feel free to ask any questions. Don't feel shy in asking questions. I'm traveling from a very long distance just for you guys.
Hello. Actually, there was a changing trend in online contests for ICPC regions. Generally, what used to happen was there was not extreme data structure heavy question, but this time there was a question and three. So is there going to be some change in the on-site round also?
There might be, because there is no specific syllabus for ACM ICPC. So you can imagine that these kind of data structures can be used in on-sites also. And I think if you just see from the perspective of Indian culture, these are new data structures for us. But if you see from the perspective of, let's say, Russian coders, these are the data structures which are very commonly used in their contests. So you can expect these data structures in further contests also. But actually these are some of the easier questions if you know the data structure properly. Because if you have that particular data structure in your library and you solve like one or two problems, only one or two problems related to trees, then you can solve these problems. But yeah, of course not everybody learns that. But if you see any topic like dynamic programming or graph theory, then even you can solve like 500 to 1000 problems, still you won't be able to solve a problem, even after you know that it can be solved by dynamic programming. But with these questions, you have a very good chance if you maintain a proper library and have these codes already pre-written in your library, that you can solve them easily.
Okay, so there was one more thing. The moment we entered that step 1 part in code courses, there is actually a huge gap that we feel in contests. Like step 2 contest, generally when we solve 3 or 4 problems, it is actually very good. But when we actually entered that step 1 part, even solving 2 questions proves really hard. So how did you cope with that? Or what kind of practice?
Yeah, so this definitely happens with everyone. When you enter from Division 2 to Division 1 for first time or for the second time, then you feel there is a very big gap between the problems that you used to solve earlier and now. So the good way to practice them is to give like 7-8 virtual contests before participating in some live contest, and then evaluate yourself. See what exactly you are missing. Is it some kind of new data structures that you don't know, or is it just some observation which you are not able to think, and with just single observation you can solve the whole problem? So usually in Division 1A, the problems requires you to see one single observation, and once you have that, then you can code that easily. Most of the heavy data structures are used in Division 1C and D. So if you practice like 50-60 problems from Division 1A, you will start to get the pattern and see that it's only just about one observation which is not clearly mentioned in problem. And once you have that, then you can solve it easily.
If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand.
So, what is the right way, according to you, to master for a particular type of algo? Like, should I learn one out of all and then practice, or learn all in one go and then try a variety of problems?
So, I think if you go with either of approach, it won't work very well. I generally feel demotivated if I practice in one of these ways. Like sometimes I feel in every other contest I am seeing a max problem and I'm not able to solve it. And sometimes what happens is if you don't know any particular algorithm, then every time you won't be able to solve, every time you feel that you can't solve this problem, you just relate that, okay, I am not able to solve it, this must be a max flow problem. But that not usually is the case. So you should approach your learning in both ways. Sometimes just learn about specific topic in depth. And when you feel bored of it, then just go and solve some random problems. So a mix of both works well for me. If I approach in only a single way, then I feel a bit bored of it.
So like there are a lot of contests going on, code chef, code forces, then there are some other contests going on which people are talking about code forces like SCRC, MERC and all other kinds of contests like in Korean. So I mean, what should you practice, and if you practice, you get stuck on some question, then you leave it for upsolving, then the file keeps on going. So how should we handle that?
So you should practice more on whichever judge makes you comfortable. I personally like top coder problems the most, so I used to solve them a lot because those doesn't require you to code a lot, but just a single observation and then you can solve it. And about the upsolving part, when you can't solve a problem, it's important to revisit it after a few weeks. There are some algorithms which are really, really tricky and which even after you spend a full complete day, like 8 to 10 hours in that, then there is a very, very good chance that you cannot get a bit of it. That happens with everyone. So in those cases, just mark those algorithms that for the future, revisit that again after 1 week. And if you still not able to solve it, revisit that again. So in your second visit, you will definitely get more things and you will understand more parts of the algorithms. So that I think is very, very important. But if you just leave that problem, it will come back again and you will feel the same way that you still don't know a bit about it. So it's important you revisit the hard algorithms 3-4 times after a week, after some interval. And there is one advice that I give to everyone. Like if you are not interested in algorithms and data structures at all, then still you should solve at least 50 problems from somewhere. Because if you join IT or computer science in some college, then you committed towards it for some time. And if you won't try it, then you won't be able to know whether it is good for you or bad for you. This applies to all the domains that we have in computer science, whether you want to develop an app or whether you want to try ML. So if just try it once, and if you don't like it, then it's good. You at least know that this thing is not made for you. It's very sad that after completing 4 years, when people ask, should I go for MS or should I go for MBA? Because those are two very completely orthogonal fields. And if you have such a question in mind, then I mean, you still haven't decided in your 4 years that you don't like this thing. That's a sad part. Just decide on one thing, that you don't like algorithms and data structures, you don't like mathematics. That's fine. Just move and try to develop an app. Even after developing an app, if you don't like it, then it's fine. Just move on to anything else. The great part of computer science is there are so many different flavors in it. If you go for other branches, they are restricted to single kind of job. But in computer science, there are a lot more. It's not just about algorithms and data structures. So just find what suits you. Or if nothing suits you, then just decide that you don't like it and you will go for something else after your final year. That's perfectly fine.
More questions?
Sir, have you ever panicked in the beginning when you got into the competitive programming? Like you found the logic halfway of a particular problem but couldn't work further on it, and then you moved to other and you have to submit it in a particular amount of time. So how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, I faced these problems in many contests. Actually, I participated in so many contests, so I covered all the edge cases of failing. So It happens. It happened with me in the beginning that I solved something, I couldn't able to solve it within time. It happens sometimes when you initially started to learn things like recursion, which doesn't make sense initially, and it's hard to visualize things. So you know the logic, but you can't write the recursion of it properly. You can't cover the base cases. So things take time. These things doesn't make sense in your mind initially. You can't visualize them properly, and you can't. Of course, if you can't visualize them, you can't code them properly also. So it happens with everyone. Sometimes you feel low also after a contest that other of my classmates solved these many problems and I couldn't able to solve a single one. So these things happens, but it's important that you get out of it as soon as possible. Because if you just stuck on single thing, then you are just wasting your time and everyone else is practicing. And when you will meet again, they will again solve more problems than you. So it's better you get out of it and start practicing again.
Any more questions? So there are many of us first years aspiring to enter the competitive program. So what are the best sites to start with?
I think these days there are many options. You can pick either of them. It's a good idea to pick the one in which your friends are also coding, so you find enough motivation to compete with them and to learn from them. But if you want me to name few, then I think Spoj is very good for the beginners, because there are enough hints available on the web. Even if you are not able to solve that problem, in any forum or somewhere you can find that which topic is this problem related to. Then you can learn that topic and come back to the problem again. So Spoj is very good. I think Codeforce is also doing very well because it categorizes problem in different set of difficulties. So you can start with the easy ones. And Topcoder is also nice. It also has similar format. So yeah, but I started with Spoj and I think that's very good for beginners.
Any more?
Hello sir, I have two questions for you. First is, what kind of skills at your present job and at Google is required to excel? And my second question is, how have you maintained such a good body shape?
So can you repeat the second one?
How have you maintained such a good body shape? You are afraid you look more.
I still can't hear it. Everybody was laughing. Oh, I ran for 5 kilometers every weekend. And I play cricket also on every Saturday. I think that answers your second question. Now the first one. So in Google, it depends again on your work. If you are doing front-end work, then of course your front-end skills are required to excel. If you are doing back-end work, then you should have good knowledge of back-end. And if you are doing ML work, then it's a completely different flavor. But the good thing is, if you are not liking one, then you can switch teams very easily. You can switch locations very easily. Just find a job opening in another team which requires some different set of skills and just apply to that. It's as simple as that. There are no interviews or anything like that. I think that answers your question.
So what would you advise more, that to give more contests or to practice more problems?
Both actually. If you were to test that how much you learned, then participate a lot and then upsolve those problems which you are not able to solve in contest. If you pass your beginner phase, of course. So initially it's better to stay away from contest if you are just starting, so that you gain some confidence and you don't feel demotivated after a contest. And participate in virtual contests before going into some real contests, so you get some idea that whether you are able to solve some few things or not. But if you directly start competing with others, then you feel very demotivated that other people able to solve that much and you are not doing very well. So just to avoid that feeling, it's better to just learn for a few days and analyze your performance in virtual contests and see how you are performing.
Thank you, sir.
So like for AC and CPC, it's a team contest. So we should practice in a team or more, or we should practice individually more?
Well, individually you practice a lot for sure, that I am assuming. But it's very important to practice in team also. Sometimes we make mistakes that, from my personal experience I'm telling that, we pick different problems and the person who is best in coding picks the hardest. The other one picks the second hardest, let's say there are 3 problems. And the one which is a bit weaker in competitive programming, he picks the easiest. And you feel like you can optimize the most this way, but sometimes what happens is you end up solving nothing after that. So it's important you know the chemistry of the team, how others think, what are the strong points of other candidates in your team. Some people solve mathematical problems really well, some are very good at graphs. So it's very, very important that you participate in team also and see how you perform as a team and just get to know each other a bit better.
Sir, while solving, how much time should we give to a problem?
You should at least try it for an hour or 2. Then actually absolve it in steps. After trying it for some time, then see some portion of editorial but not the complete editorial. Sometimes you feel that even after trying for an hour you have absolutely no clue, or even you don't know which topic can this problem be part of. So just to get that idea, read editorial a bit, then come back to the problem again. Then even after that, if you feel you can't solve it, then read full editorial, see what are the points that you were missing and what were the reasons you cannot solve this problem. But it's very, very important, if you are solving something, then finish it. The mistakes which many people, including me, sometimes do that, we try to solve something, see that it's too tough and just leave it. If you find some problem too tough, that's the best problem for you, because that problem is telling you exactly that you don't know this thing, just learn it. So it's important to finish the problems which you are trying and feeling these are too tough for you.
Sir, tell me something about your experience when you visited tourist.
Well, I just played cricket with him. There was not much interaction other than that. Yeah, he's a nice guy and codes very, very well. I mean, that's an understatement for sure.
Hello, sir. As the best coder of India and experienced professional, are you planning for something like being Mike for India? Means launching, sir.
Sorry, doing what?
Mike with the code courses.
Oh, currently I don't have any such plans, but I would love to contribute something towards the society. I think I go to colleges a lot. I try to help via Facebook messages and all for other people, but not planning to start something right away. Maybe sometime in the future.